First, let's start with the title. You can understand City's celebrations there, but is it a foregone conclusion? Some would ask. It's not over until it's over. I remember in May 2022, I was in the Anfield press box and news was coming through that Man City were 2-0 down against Aston Villa with 15 minutes to go. Of course, they managed to turn it around and get away with it that day, but Liverpool weren't far away from stealing it from them on the last day. Of course, the Aguero moment in 2012. They don't always do it easily on the final day, Man City. And of course, what version of West Ham are they going to be up against? Because we've seen West Ham win at Arsenal this season, they've drawn against Liverpool, we've also seen them concede 5 goals against Crystal Palace and Chelsea. Obviously David Moyes' final game. Will they be playing with freedom, or will they maybe just be overwhelmed by a City team just completely up for this and clinching the title? So yeah, until that final whistle blows, it's not quite done, but it's what we've been talking about for months, isn't it? Charge in the second half of the season, putting themselves in pole position once again. Yeah, absolutely. It feels like it's going to be difficult for it not to be City just because of that record against West Ham as well. They're unbeaten in their last 16 games against them, a run that stretches back to September 2015, a time when David Cameron was Prime Minister of the UK. That was the same month Wayne Rooney became England's all-time top goalscorer, overtaking Bobby Charlton. It was a long time ago, is my point. But then you look at Arsenal versus Everton as well. They've got an exceptional record against them at home. They haven't lost to them since 2010, so it feels like both those games could be done. But on the basis of last night, there will be more twists and turns. I mean, very few people gave Spurs a chance given their recent form. You know, City's recent form being imperious in that as well. They'd won their previous 7 games going to last night. They'd scored 4 or more goals in 6 of those games. And yet there was that nervy moment. Yet that was that save which we'll come on to in due course. So I agree with Nolan. There could be another twist, but City definitely have the advantage. Yeah, because a draw if Arsenal were to win, because a goal difference wouldn't be enough. It has to be a victory. James, all season though, we've been checking that Opta Predictor, their supercomputer, which has been working 24 hours, 7 days a week. Is it starting to take a rest now, a little breather? What was it saying last night? Not quite. Percentages have gone up and down throughout the campaign, but we can see the final predictor ahead of the final weekend of the season. Last night's victory for Man City was huge, and that's backed up by the fact their title chances went from 59% pre-match to 84% now. Now, Arsenal's victory at Old Trafford have moved their chance of winning the title up to 41%, the highest it's been this season. But Spurs failing to do them a favour last night means they have just a 16% chance of glory on Sunday. And it's worth a reminder Opta's predictions at the start of the season. The supercomputer simulated the season 10,000 times to see how the campaign may play out. Man City won in 90.2% of the simulations, Arsenal in just 4.1%. So Arsenal have a much better chance of winning the title heading into the final game week of the season than they did in pre-season. So there's something to cling on to. Yeah. And the bookmakers make both of them favourites to win, both of them odds on, but Arsenal 6-1 on, Manchester City 101 on. So it looks like, well, if you believe that, 4th Premier League title in a row, potentially on the cards then. I'm thinking about the biggest achievement by a side in Premier League history because of longevity, or just something like Leicester eclipse even 4 in a row. How do you see it? Yeah, I think Leicester may be up there. Arsenal invincibles, of course, let's not forget them. But 4 in a row is pretty special, isn't it? In terms of what the players have done, in terms of a sporting achievement, certainly, of course, there's always that little asterisk at the moment with Man City, isn't there, with 115 charges and the foundations of what they've created, that obviously being investigated at the moment. But in terms of what the players have to deliver that consistency year in, year out, that really is very impressive from them. The other thing I guess you could talk about is the quality of their rivals, maybe. Man United won 3 in a row when Rooney and Ronaldo were really at their palm, and that felt like a really special era, an impressive era to win those titles back-to-back. Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United in 2003, 2004, that sort of real golden period as well for the Premier League. So that's a debate that's going to run and run. But I think in terms of Man City and those players, what they've done, couldn't do much more. And I think this is really putting them in a historic achievement in Premier League history, and those players will have their place whenever we talk about the great Premier League teams. Yeah, deservedly so. Deservedly so. In terms of a single achievement, I still prefer Leicester. I mean, everyone loves an underdog story. Man City is just not an underdog story, but they still, as Pete says, deserve respect for what they've achieved. They've also in this period become the second English side to win a treble. Could become the first English side to ever win a back-to-back double, which people are kind of forgetting about as well if they beat Man United, as many people expect them to. It's been an unprecedented period of success, and that's why I just don't put any shame on Liverpool or Arsenal if they don't get over the line this year. It's been the case of the best manager in Premier League history, with a collection of some of the best players in Premier League history, and for the early part of his reign at least. Very strong spending at least. And even in the last few years, they've managed to bring down that net spend through selling high-quality players they brought in previously. So it's just incredibly difficult for anyone to top them, and who would bet against them backing it up next year as well. And part of that is, you need to be thoughtless basically to beat this team now. They've set the bar where you need to basically get 90 points in a season to win the title, which those previous teams I spoke about, the points totals were a little bit lower, but you almost have to be perfect to beat this Man City team. Yeah, I mean, Man United only got over 90 points 3 times under Sir Alex Ferguson. If City win on Sunday, that'd be the 4th time in the last 7 years. So it's never been done before. And okay, Haaland's goal's obviously key, but the man next to him, Kevin De Bruyne, another assist for him, Nolan, that moves him up the list for most assists in the Premier League, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a trademark move from the Belgian midfielder who's led to Haaland's opener last night. How many times have we seen that? And his assist, which moves him past Cesc Fabregas onto 112 in the Premier League. Now, only 4 other players have 100 Premier League assists or more, and none of these others here reach 100 faster than Kevin De Bruyne. He's still 50 behind Ryan Giggs' all-time record of 162. That tally does seem a long way off. De Bruyne has 1 year left on his contract. You'd think he'd probably need a couple more seasons on top of that to catch Giggs, but either way, he's in elite company. Why? Because Juan Laporta was really foolish with Xavi Hernandez. He spent months to discuss with Xavi, to work around Xavi and to rebuild the relationship with Xavi Hernandez to keep him at the club. Hey guys, welcome back on the channel, 1 Hour Sport TV here, as always, to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today guys, we have important things to say. Barcelona, Xavi Hernandez, a bomb for the club. But also, who could replace Xavi in case he gets fired? What's going on at Juventus? And also Thomas Tuchel. Let's jump into it together. So, it's an incredible story, the one around Barcelona in the last 24 hours. Something really strange already happened yesterday when the president, Juan Laporta, and the director, Deco, didn't travel with the team to attend to the game between Almeria and Barca. Something really strange, because Laporta is always there. Laporta is always with the team. Laporta is always traveling. Laporta is always involved, and he wasn't with the team. Why? Because Juan Laporta was really foolish with Xavi Hernandez. Why? What's going on? That Xavi Hernandez, back months ago, decided to go public and say that he wanted to leave the club, to leave Barcelona, to change at the end of the season. It was the best solution for the club, so a really strong statement. Then the president, Juan Laporta, of course, together with the board, but especially the president, Juan Laporta, spent months to discuss with Xavi, to work around Xavi, and to rebuild the relationship with Xavi Hernandez to keep him at the club. But what happened is that, at the end, Xavi also decided to accept and come to Barcelona way, and so to stay as Barca manager. It was not even 3 weeks ago when all the people in Barcelona, Juan Laporta, the directors, the board, the manager, Xavi himself, all the people were there together to announce that Xavi was going to stay as Barca manager. The project, the summer signings, everything was agreed between Laporta and Xavi, even with the public press conference. So Barcelona announced the continuity of Xavi Hernandez, also with a very good reaction from the dressing room, from the players. But then what happens? Now Xavi Hernandez is again at serious risk and could really be fired by Barcelona. They could really part ways, because what's going on is that the president, Juan Laporta, is really furious with Xavi Hernandez. He's not happy for several reasons, but 2 reasons above all. The first one is that Juan Laporta was not expecting Xavi to go public in a press conference, the one before the game against Almeria, and say that it's really difficult to do important things at Barcelona in this moment because of the financial situation of the club. So Xavi was really honest in that moment, really clear in the press conference, but Juan Laporta was not expecting Xavi to go there and say that. He was always expecting Xavi to back the club, support the club, to keep things private, rather than going public and going that strong about the financial situation of the club. So Juan Laporta was not happy with that statement. He really wanted, since they decided to continue together, Xavi to speak in a positive way for the club, for the players, all together to create a positive environment for next season, expected to be a difficult season, especially with Real Madrid on the other side, in Spain, signing Kylian Mbappe and building an incredible squad. They wanted to create something positive around the club, and that statement of Xavi Hernandez before the game was not appreciated by Juan Laporta. The intense situation was already there about some specific cases too. For example, another thing Laporta and other people at the club, not just Laporta, didn't appreciate is that Xavi Hernandez said that the original plan was to bring in Vitor Roque in the summer, that he wanted Vitor Roque to join in the summer and not in January. People at the club feel and especially Laporta, that Xavi Hernandez, in reality, in December, wanted Vitor Roque to join the club in January and not in the summer. So, Xavi wanted to anticipate the deal, but now, with the Vitor Roque case exploding in a very strong way, in that moment the message of the manager was, I don't want the player to join in January, I want the player to join in the summer. So Barca were not happy with Xavi's stance on Vitor Roque. Barca were not happy at all also with his statement on the financial situation. They feel that Xavi has gone public with something not appreciated at all by the club. And also the management of Vitor Roque with public statements in terms of game time and how they are handling the situation with this talent the Barcelona trust, because they invested 31 million euros guaranteed plus more than 30 in potential loans for Vitor Roque, is something that they can't accept. So it's a really tense situation between Barca and Xavi. People at the club, the president Joao Laporta, really complicated. So let me say that there is a chance, yes, for Xavi and Barca to part ways. Let's see how it's going to develop in the next hours, but it's a really tense situation between Laporta and Xavi. So there are chances to part ways. Remember the names we had before this storm, this crazy situation. Rafa Marquez remains a candidate for Barcelona job in case they part ways with Xavi, because Rafa Marquez was the big favorite before all this story, really appreciated by people at the club, including Deco. And also important to say that Hansi Flick could be still a candidate, because Hansi Flick has always been waiting for Barcelona as a possibility. He was really attracted by the job. So let's see what they're going to do at the club with Rafa Marquez and Hansi Flick. But the first step has to be clarify what they want to do with Xavi Hernandez. An incredible situation at Barcelona. Meanwhile, at Juventus, they will fire Massimiliano Allegri. So Allegri will be available on the manager's market. The only decision being made is if they fire Massimiliano Allegri immediately after some crazy case happened with journalists after winning the domestic cup, Coppa Italia against Atalanta. Allegri had a verbal fight with a journalist. And so even after that case, Juventus could be tempted by firing Massimiliano Allegri immediately. But in any case, Allegri will not be Juventus manager next season. And Juventus want Thiago Motta. Juventus are in advanced talks with Thiago Motta. They presented him a contract proposal, 3-year deal. This is the proposal from Juventus to Thiago Motta. He did an incredible job at Bologna, bringing them to Champions League football. Something really incredible. So congratulations to Thiago Motta. Juventus offered him a 3-year deal. Now Thiago has to decide whether he wants to continue at Bologna and play Champions League football there, or if he wants to move on and join Juventus with this big opportunity. So it's up to Thiago Motta. But he's the man Juventus want to replace. Massimiliano Allegri. And then Thomas Tuchel, guys. Thomas Tuchel goes public and confirms that he had negotiations and talks. Tuchel himself, his agent with Bayern. As I told you yesterday, Tuchel wanted power for the summer transfer window to decide together on some specific positions to cover, players to bring in, players to sell. Second crucial point. He wanted the full support of the supervisory board, including Rummenigge and including Guglielmo, not having any internal problems, internal fights. So not just the directors but also people from the board. And he really wanted that. And then he also wanted a contract extension. So 3 crucial factors. But Tuchel goes public today and says, yes, we negotiated, yes, we had talks, but we can't reach an agreement. So Tuchel is leaving Bayern with immediate effect. And from what I'm hearing, Tuchel is open to working again immediately this summer. So in case there will be an opportunity in Premier League, we know that could be the case for him to go back to England. He's really open to that. But in general, Thomas Tuchel is open to working again already this season. It's something really important to say because for the upcoming season, Tuchel wants to be again at work. Let's see if he will find the right opportunity. But crazy situations around managers in Europe. And so guys, let me know your thoughts on this crazy Barcelona situation. What do you expect to happen? But also Max Allegri, Thiago Motta and the situation of Thomas Tuchel, who is the coach now for Bayern. Let me know your opinion here in the comments. Like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Did you know that Cristiano Ronaldo has a unique bedtime routine? He prioritizes mental rest in the evenings, explaining his rule. One important thing, I don't speak after 10 to 11 o'clock. I don't speak on the phone. I don't like to speak in the night because of my brain. So after 10 o'clock, don't call me. However, he makes exceptions for close friends in need, adding, but if a close friend calls me and needs something, I answer him even after 10 in the evening. This routine helps him maintain focus and stay sharp for his demanding schedule. Did you know the embarrassing request that Real Madrid coach requested Ronaldo that made him burst out laughing? This is one of the most funny situations in Cristiano's history. In 2016, Real Madrid fired Carlo Ancelotti and brought in his replacement Rafael Benitez. But once Benitez arrived at Madrid, he clashed with a lot of players. He even entered into a problem with team captain Ramos. But the craziest thing Benitez did was when he invited Ronaldo to his office and gave him a USB drive with lots of video on it on how to take a free kick. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the most beautiful and best free kick takers in history, scoring more than 50 goals from free kick at that time. Imagine that Benitez was teaching him how to take a free kick. Ronaldo said, "Tell Benitez I will send him a USB with all my goals on it which he can study." And this was Ronaldo's reaction when the reporter said, "Cristiano, I heard that Benitez was teaching you how to take a free kick." Shocking, guys. What a twist of fate. Did you know that David Moyes brought Michael Arteta to the Premier League in 2005, managing the Spaniard for 6 years at Everton? Shocking, right? Here's the twist. 19 years on, Arteta needs his former coach's West Ham side to get a result against Manchester City if Arsenal are to win the 2023 to 2024 Premier League title. However, on the 11th of February 2024, while Moyes' West Ham was struggling in form, Arsenal travelled to the London Stadium and humiliated West Ham, scoring 6 goals to nothing. Do you think Moyes will be eager to help Arsenal win the title? Comment your thoughts and remember to like and share. Did you know about the breaking news from the old ladies in Turin? Massimiliano Allegri has been sacked as Juventus manager. He won 11 trophies in his first stint with the club, and his second stint just won the Coppa Italia 2 days ago. What's next for the manager? Did you know how Roman Abramovich came to buy Chelsea FC? According to trust fund manager Chris Samuelson, the decision came quite spontaneously. He recounts, "We were coming back from looking at buying Tottenham, and he asked, 'What's that?' I said, 'Stamford Bridge, Chelsea.' He asked, 'Why can't I have that one?' A week later, he owned it. Just like that, Abramovich shifted his interest from Tottenham to Chelsea, making a swift and significant decision that would reshape the future of the club. Incredible indeed.